It's time for Rabbi Minkowicz's Weekly Torah Lesson, a place where life's most difficult questions are answered. Here with his spiritual perspective and insight, Rabbi Minkowicz.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parsha's VAYIGASH. So the question of the week is, what is the definition of life? So in this week's Torah portion, Parsha's VAYIGASH, we learn about Yosef HaTzadik revealing himself to his brothers, and then immediately instructs them to go up to his father, their father, Yaakov, and instruct him that he's alive. And here something fascinating takes place. The brothers come to Yaakov, the father, and they tell him, guess what? Yosef's alive. Now one would think Yaakov would be jumping from joy. His son, who he missed, who he cried for, is alive. But the Torah tells us his heart didn't believe it. Then the Torah goes on to tell us, they start to tell him more things about Yosef. He still didn't believe it. Then all of a sudden they tell him, look, Yosef sent for you agolos, wagons. And all of a sudden Yaakov said, now I know he's alive. So the question is, what happened? They told him he was alive. Didn't believe him. They were telling him things about Yosef. Wasn't comforted. When he saw wagons, so now he knew he's alive. So the commentaries explain, because the wagons weren't just wagons, they were a code. What was the code? Because when Yosef, before he was taken away from his family, he used to study with his father, and he studied the laws of Egla Arufa, which Egla is the same word as Agala as a wagon. So when Yaakov saw the Egla, the wagons, he knew that was a hint, remember when I left you, that's what we were studying? And that's the code word. So the question is, Yaakov didn't trust his sons? And why would they lie to him? It's something that he would find out. Why would they go tease their father like that? So the Rebbe explains, here you see a powerful insight. Yosef was successful in Egypt. He saved Egypt. The brothers come back and give this report, Yosef's alive. Yaakov doesn't buy it. He's successful, and even though it's true he was successful, Yaakov's not impressed. Why? Because they kept on saying he's alive. Yaakov had a different definition of what does it mean to be alive. What Yaakov's definition of being alive is, you can be physically alive and you can be successful in business. But if you're not connected to God through Torah and mitzvot, in Yaakov's eyes, you're physically alive, but you're spiritually dead. And Yaakov was only comforted when he heard that Yosef was spiritually alive, that he was still studying Torah and he was still doing mitzvot, and then he knew, Yosef's alive. So to answer the question, what is the definition of being alive? The definition of being alive is when you're connected to God via Torah study and doing mitzvot. That is the true definition of being completely alive. This week's Torah lesson is dedicated to the memory of Baruch and Aryeh Leib. May the Torah that we're studying in his memory cause an elevation for his soul. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. Please join us for live classes here at Chabad. Wednesday we have the JLI course from 12:30 to 2. Thursday morning there's a Parsha class by Chana from 11 to 12. And Thursday evening we have the JLI from 7 to 8:30. And Shabbat morning we have Kabbalah class at 9 o'clock, followed by services and a Farbrengen. Shavua Tov, have a great week.